Hello and welcome back to Generic Sports Podcast. I'm your host, the Goose, Josh.
And I'm John.
And gosh, already done with the championship round.
Welcome to the lousy championship.
This was the one that everybody didn't want. You know, the one that could have seen like a new Super Bowl or a Super Bowl that we haven't seen in at least a decade.
Or the Lions actually in the Super Bowl.
Well, but that would have been a new Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
and Lions at least being in the Super Bowl, yeah, that would have been great because and for a moment there, I thought we were gonna get it. When I say a moment, I mean
The first half.
That first half. But first, I'd rather talk about the Chiefs
Yeah.
because and the Ravens. The Chiefs, you probably know by now, Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl rematch of Super Bowl 54 4 years ago. First of all, say it's a rematch of teams. To say that I mean the fact that the Niners are back with a better running back. No offense to Raheem Mostert, but I mean Christian McCaffrey's really great. But also Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk's playing in his first Super Bowl. A lot of the other people playing in their second. So like I do think that there's enough experience that this isn't gonna be. Yeah, and a lot of these players played in the championship round last year too. So it's like they know the pressure. I think there's always pressure, but it's like like the championship round is the big pressure. As well as I think there's the same level of pressure on the championship as well as the Super Bowl round. I mean, but that's only my experience coming in from like the anxiety of watching a game. So I have to imagine that there's that that pressure and stuff and but that's only from my perspective. Anyways, to talk, I want to talk about the Chiefs first, just because they had a good first half. They had a great first half, honestly. Like 2 touchdowns, like back to back. They took the Ravens like and threw them off their game, and that's really what hurt them. I don't think either team really ran it. Like I don't really remember hearing a lot about Isaiah Pacheco. Do you? I don't know. Do you have the stats on?
I'll check the stats, but I know he had a few decent runs. Like he's still like one of the ones to get them like very short, like second downs or third downs.
Like I don't like this was not a running back game.
No,
for whatever reason.
I have the stats down. He was the rushing leader with 68 yards.
Yeah, which is kind of like a lousy game for him when you think about like he usually doubles that in most games. I don't know, and I don't mean just all-purpose yards. I just mean running back, just rushing yards, right? All-purpose. I forget if that includes punt returns and stuff, but like I know he had I don't know what his receiving yards were, but
14.
So yeah, his combined total was not even 100, which is really shocking. So the fact that I mean, first of all, that's a lot of credit to I think the Ravens defense that was not the problem. Like
No.
they stumbled the first 2. They got like 2 touchdowns and stuff like that, but yeah, the Chiefs to be completely honest, like you've probably if you follow football enough, you've probably seen the meme. They were the heroes. They've been around long enough that to become the villain. Like nobody wants to see them win unless you're a Kansas City fan.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same thing like a few years ago. Nobody wanted to see the Patriots win in the championship game, and then the Patriots beat them and then went on to beat the Rams, I think, in that Super Bowl. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Like we're all tired of the Chiefs. There's a lot of like I've said on Twitter, like there's too much talent and it's not all on the Chiefs. That's what makes basketball a lot more interesting when you really like you hear okay, like Steph Curry and LeBron James, but Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, and I'm forgetting, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but SGA. I think it's Shea Gilgis Alexander. I think I got it. Yeah, I think. But yeah, just and I don't want to get into it as like, is it scripted? Is it not? But I mean,
it's a business decision, is what it is. Are the NFL trying to help the Chiefs get there because Taylor Swift is there and she's helped make the NFL more money? Yes. They made like, what was it? The referee, that home teams with this referee team only have a 40% win record against him. Like things like that they did certain decisions like that to sway to the Chiefs' favor.
Right. And it like people, I know fellow, at least sports, I guess podcasters or people on YouTube, content creators might say, like, some have said like flag, no flag. Like I personally believe that there were a couple of pass interferences that were not called on the Chiefs defense. Arguable as far as the one that where Lamar threw it into triple coverage. Mm-hmm. That one's an arguable one. Like I can see it, like that one I could understand, but there was, I think they were both on Odell. Like his arm was being held down. Like there was some arm lockup on one of them. And maybe on the one there was one, and I don't know if it was on. I think it was on a different play, but I remember there should have been some illegal contact on one. It's just that they didn't call it, and it's so weird because I've always been a proponent of down the line, call the rules the same. If you're gonna let them play, like let them play all season. Don't let them just play in the playoffs. Right. I don't think there was, unless I missed it. I think there was maybe one pass interference one, and I don't even think, and I might be misremembering because I know there was the roughing the passer with the hit to the face of Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, and then there was the unsportsmanlike on Kyle Van Noy because of Travis Kelce. Because no, Kyle Van Noy was trying to play mediator and break everything up, play peacekeeper and break things up, apart. But no, he gets flagged because he was trying to come in and break everything up. And I'm just like,
it's like you just gave it to the Chiefs, like with these random ass penalties and not calling the penalties, and like what was it? The roughing the passer one just felt like it was just like he pushed him down, and then he touched his helmet, like like it wasn't like egregious.
Which one?
I think it was like Jadeveon Clowney's one.
The punch. I was gonna say the punch to the face one. Totally agree on that.
No, not the punch to the face one. The pushing one.
Yeah.
The basic pushing one, like I think Christian Wilkins did. Like, oh no, you can't push Patrick Mahomes. Can we just change the flag football already? Then
I feel like it honestly, if you go back and watch the games in the playoffs, you will see that Brock Purdy takes some fucking hits. And they don't flag. They don't take any flags. He gets hit, but Patrick Mahomes gets pushed. It's bad. I don't like that's part of why you see that they become the villain, and that's the story. Like that's the story that it's becoming. It is. It's also, you can see how Travis Kelce, honestly he's been an asshole. I can't say on or off I can't say off the field because I don't know how he is in his personal life. Obviously, like Taylor Swift, he's dating, whatever. But on the field, I think there's an asshole. I think he's an asshole, and he gets away with it in the sense of some of these defenders, some of these people that it's like I don't want to say Ndamukong Suh, but you can see there's some asshole type shit that he's done in his past. I won't say it's as bad as Ndamukong Suh or even Vontaze Perfect or something like that, but you can see that there's some, he starts shit and he gets away with it. And the way he acts on his ego, his
ego is so inflated. He thinks he's bigger than the game, that some of these Chief players like Travis and I think even Mahomes have gotten to the point their egos are just to make them think they're above the game.
Well, honestly,
with being like how we were saying with being the villain now.
Well, and honestly, the reason behind that, you can actually see what was goes back to the first Buffalo game where Kadarius Toney, and we'll talk about him a little bit more in a moment, but Kadarius Toney was offsides. He lined up and they're like, I'm so upset that we didn't get that touchdown they took away the special play from Travis Kelce because of an offensive offsides. You had three other plays to get something done. Couldn't even get a first down after that. Like, you were so stuck in your head, Patrick, right there. And that's the thing. That right there, that energy is that ego that makes them the assholes. I don't, like, everybody, like, I can't believe how fast I have changed. I'm not changing my opinion, but I don't know. I didn't like Tom Brady. I don't know, but I never thought I don't know if I ever thought he was like disrespectful or anything like how Patrick Mahomes on that particular like game was. I don't like. I know his wife at the time, Giselle, called out, like about the whole like, is he supposed to catch the ball too, kind of thing. But I don't remember. I don't know if Tom ever got that upset, over a call, something like that. It's also why I lost a lot of respect for Cam Newton after his Super Bowl loss. I mean, there was stuff that he didn't go, he didn't jump on the ball when he should have, but just the way he acted after the game. Like, that's actually why I gained a lot of respect for Josh Norman after that game, because he was sad, he was crying, I remember, but he also he was respectful to like Peyton, and just like it felt like he knew it was like the end, like this was his last game, like this was Peyton's last game. Like, there was just a respect level to Josh Norman. So it's just like that kind of stuff that it's the ego of them. Honestly, like, the worst thing is Andy Reid's a great coach. I love him. Like, I hate that he's in our division, because I know a lot of this comes from Andy Reid, because he finally got his quarterback. Like, I've said to people, could you imagine Andy Reid with Peyton Manning? Oh my God. Like, let us not, some people, I don't think people give enough love to what Peyton Manning did in his career. I mean, of course he had to face Tom Brady, but it wasn't just Tom Brady. It was a Bill Belichick defense, like, all the time. Do you know, I'm mostly certain that not just a quarterback, but a player. I don't know if a player other than Peyton has made 4 Super Bowls with 4 different head coaches. I don't know if anybody else has done that.
If anyone else has, it's either like not. I don't know if another quarterback has.
I don't believe another quarterback has.
But if it's another, there might be some defensive player,
defensive or running back. Like, but even with head coaches, like, I know, like, was it Charles? I believe it was Charles Haley. Won 5 Super Bowls, and I think they were like 2 with the 49ers and 3 with the Cowboys or something like that. Something like, and even then, I think it was like different. That might have been 2, maybe 3 head coaches at most.
Yeah, I'm looking up if there was any other coach, any other players to make it, and only Peyton Manning's the only thing that's coming up. So
yeah, honestly, so
it's not an easy stat. So
it isn't. I mean, I think that there's a reason that it's like he's the only one, and maybe there's like a special teamer, maybe something.
Is there
like
any player that came with Peyton to all his Super Bowls? Because that would be the only other people.
No, because
I don't think any Colts player. I don't think anyone else from like the Colts went to the Browns.
The only other one was what's his name? I think there were. No, he was the Texans, the tight end, blinking on. Was Daniels?
Owen Daniels?
Yes. But he came from the Texans, I believe. So
yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't think anybody came. But also it's like 2006 to 2015. So
yeah, there's not a lot of like high chances of players going just following him his entire career. So
yeah. So. Other than that, I know we're around the Chiefs, but I just got to give Peyton his love.
It shows just how much we don't want to talk about the Chiefs.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I love Peyton's like my favorite player ever. And that was I love John Elway. I only got to see him for a few years. I love Troy Aikman, but I also love like Terrell Davis and Rod Smith. But like Peyton was just somebody I guess I grew up with the whole time, and I miss watching him. So, but he was just mentally. Like he had the mind, he had the talent and the mind for the game. Like I feel like that's part of why he's my greatest of all time. But yeah, let's get back to the Chiefs. Ego aside, whatever. The last, we could talk about Travis Kelsey. But we both said our piece, and I don't think they're bad people off the field. Honestly, I just think that they sometimes sound a little full of themselves going back to the first Bills game, and well, Patrick did, and then I think that's where the ego kind of comes in between, when you hear that kind of stuff. But I will say, this is the interesting thing. And I'm waiting to hear the whole story about it with Kadarius Toney, but he hasn't played the last few weeks. I don't think he's played in the playoffs at all. I don't know if he played week 18 even.
Mm-hmm.
I know they were saying he was injured and he's probably healthy, but they said there's personal reasons he didn't, like he was sidelined or whatever. But I feel like that was either a Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, or somebody. They decided there was some talking. Like, I don't like to use the word, but I feel like Kadarius Toney might have been like a disease, a cancer, something, an infection where the whole drop balls, like kind of that's where the inflated ego came in. Like, he inflated his ego because he won a Super Bowl after being traded. Like, made this touchdown catch in the Super Bowl. And honestly, I don't hear about like he's not playing, and Sky Moore, like, non-existent. I haven't heard his name much, if at all, during this playoff run. But I just want to say, sometimes you can see that I feel like there's the whole cause and effect thing. Like, he might have been the cause of those, like the wide receiver room not playing, dropping those balls for whatever reason. It could have gone back to that week 1 where he bobbled the ball and Detroit got the pick 6, and it's just been like that momentum, that energy has just been that aura, the vibes, been in that locker room since. And now that he's out, they're not dropping balls. Baltimore dropped the balls. Detroit dropped the balls.
Well, let's face it. One, if they are just holding him out because because they find him negative, just fucking tell him to his fucking face. Because if you're just giving me dumbass reasons or excuses why I'm not playing, that's one that would just piss me off. And besides, they don't win the Super Bowl last year if it wasn't for Kadarius Toney's like punt return or kickoff return touchdown. So, I don't care if he fucked up your season this year. You won because of him last year. He deserves at least some respect.
Respect, yeah. And honestly, when you think about it, and if he's not getting that respect, I don't know if that goes on to Andy Reid and makes me think a little differently of him about that ego issue.
I think they all have. I think even Andy Reid's ego has got inflated because of this. I mean, it's just like it's just so sick and tiring of seeing the Chiefs, because you see them all year. You see them in the commercials. You can't get away from them, and we're just fucking tired of them.
Well, and I have to, that's an interesting thing what you said. So, like, I saw reported like 331.6, I think, million that Taylor Swift brought in. I have to know what these ads with Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and even Andy Reid. Andy Reid's got the Snickers commercial, and he's been in a couple with State Farm with
Patrick.
With Patrick. And so what percentage, like do they work? Like, what percentage of income does that get for these businesses? Like, it goes. Like, I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist.
Why is it a conspiracy theory when the entire world runs on money? Yeah. And this business that needs money to operate, this business that needs money to operate, and that these teams are owned by some of the richest people in the world that just love money more than anything else. Is this a conspiracy?
Because you'd think the Dallas Cowboys would actually win one. So that part of it.
How much money? I don't know how rich Jerry is.
They're all pretty rich, but like let's just make it more of an analysis to, like, we watch wrestling. We understand it's scripted. They go out and they perform for our entertainment. When you say it like that, that's why people get the idea that it's scripted, because they are going out there and performing and entertaining for us. And, when the hero wins, it's a big moment. That's what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs were when they, their first Super Bowl. Honestly, they kind of became the heel when they didn't beat Tom Brady, and then they did, and, they were kind of the hero. And now they've become the heel because now we're tired of them. So you can see where you kind of get the idea of the scripted stuff stuff and we here we'll be doing a WWE podcast, but can we not see the parallels between that and like Roman Reigns and how his reign has been tired and boring because it's the same old? There's a comparison there,
right? Like you watch, like Roman's been champion for 3 years and his matches are all the same. It's the same formula, and you're just throwing the Chiefs into their own same formula.
Except they had defense all season. They tried to make it more interesting, and then they were like, we'll fill. So, does it sound scripted? There's a possibility. I don't think we ever gonna know.
We will only know if someone has an expose and doesn't want and risks it all because they might not come out alive or something, or like they're. But no, in the grand scheme of things, we'll probably never know how these things work. But it's like there's a lot of shady dealings. And with DraftKings and all these sports betting sites, you don't know if the refs are betting on these players. You don't know who's betting on these players and who are trying to win.
I don't know if the refs are betting, but you don't know who's. You don't know. It's the mob ruled Vegas for a time. Well, there's a lot of sports betting. They got the money. You don't know if there's something to it.
Don't know if the refs might not be betting themselves, but they could have people betting for them, or they could have deals with people.
Well, but I don't mean deals, but you don't know who's talking into their earpiece, like in wrestling. Mm-hmm. But I don't like to say, I really like, I truly believe that it's not scripted, but you cannot tell me that there doesn't feel like, there's something there that something doesn't feel right in some ways.
This is the difference. It's not being scripted, because if it's scripted, you'd go for like the Lions, kind of more for the Lions fairy tale thing or something. You'd go for like the heartwarming story. But this is about money. This is being manipulated. They are manipulating outcomes to suit their benefit. It's like they're not writing a story. They are making outcomes they want happen.
I could believe that more than they're actually being.
This is not like pre-planned. This is not like before the season, oh, it's going to go the Chiefs' way. This is them going, oh, they're getting us more money because of like Taylor Swift or whatever. We're going to help them. We're going to use the refs. We're going to pick the refs teams. We're going to not call penalties. We're going to do that, and we're going to manipulate it for them.
I'll be honest. I can kind of see it, but at the same time,
the Ravens' offense sucked. So
right. Well, and so I was gonna say that you're. It's gonna be interesting. Do we have? It's like last year. Brock Purdy got hurt. Now, is this a redemption storyline? Are the Lions gonna go do the same story next year?
They gonna finish the story?
We'll see. I feel like Brock Purdy's gonna finish the story this year. I'm hoping he is. Mm-hmm. But especially with like Kyle Shanahan and stuff like that. Yeah, it's the reverse. Dusty never won the championship. Kyle hasn't won. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think he ever won one with his dad. I don't know if he was on the coaching or on the team, so with his dad, like in any capacity. But so it makes me think like, he wants to finish the story, Kyle Shanahan.
I hope he finishes the story and it's not a love story.
Well, but that means he doesn't finish the story. So, all right. So enough of the conspiracy, non-conspiracy theory talk. My honest opinion is, right now, I really don't know. Like we like to just shoot the breeze, talk. Does it make sense? Yes. Does it sound absolutely crazy? Yes.
Yeah, but how many crazy things are absolutely true in this world?
You aren't wrong there either. If you
how do they say? Truth is stranger than fiction.
Right? I think we have a whole game about like the true or false type thing.
Mm-hmm. I was like, what was it? I think we were playing like it was FF7 or something like. Why? I was saying, oh, why would they do this thing? And it seems ridiculous. Oh wait, that same thing they did in the game is happening in real life, and I'm like, oh, see, it sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud, but when it's actually happening and it's true, it's like sounds like truth is stranger than fiction. Yeah. I'm not trying to get into what it was talking about, but
right.
But yeah, no, when it comes down to it, like if you do certain good plays, like I don't even think the refs can stop it. Like if they pull off touchdowns and there's no penalties around, if the Ravens played well enough, the refs couldn't even have stopped them.
Yeah, no,
Sometimes you just have to play better than they try to take away from you, and that's difficult at times.
It is.
Though the Ravens' offense felt like out of character.
Well, yeah, they didn't run it. The Chiefs' defense isn't a great run.
Apparently, they were a good run defense in the playoffs because Miami tried to run the ball and couldn't run the ball against them for the same reason. So, like, stats don't tell the story.
Right, but I mean, I think Brock Purdy. But that's the thing, Brock Purdy. Josh Allen ran on them. I don't know why they didn't. I think Lamar tried to. I think there was a lot of things Todd Monken tried to call certain plans, but I don't know if Lamar didn't try to go with like plan B type things where it was like, oh, you run the ball, or maybe that's plan C, but there were drop balls. There should have been some penalties, but the fumble, the interception, they were driving. They were doing good. They just couldn't get the points when they needed to. Because when you really think about it, if Say Flowers didn't do that taunting penalty, his run probably would have been a touchdown before he fumbled that ball, maybe, or got the ball knocked out. Who knows? But either way, that could have been a touchdown. Could have got some points. Even if you had gotten a few extra, there were times where those turnovers and stuff, if you got a field goal, you win that game because your defense was playing great. It could have ended 19-17. Like, that's the thing, that the defense was great on the Ravens. They didn't, I mean, I don't know, part of it's like great defense on the Ravens. The Chiefs, you have to ask yourself, like, another second half without points, is that going to carry over to the Super Bowl? It's going to be interesting. So I don't know who really should get the blame here, like who deserves the most blame. I kind of want to say Lamar does because, I think he got too much into his head. He didn't capture that energy of the second half against Houston.
No, he didn't have like the destruction look in his eyes like he did at the end. Like he just like faltered. I don't know if the problem was him. The problem was the drops on the receivers, or they didn't run the ball enough.
I think it was just everything. I do think that there were. Well, and when you say didn't run the ball enough, I think Lamar could have ran the ball himself, changed some of those passes when he didn't see something into runs.
He was their top rusher.
And for a moment, the second leading receiver. So. But it was just bad offense. I think that this was their chance to win one. I think the division's only going to get better and tougher from here. I think they're going to learn how to game plan. And if what was it, Mike McDonald? I feel like he's going to Washington or Seattle. I think it's going to be Seattle, but the defense is going to look different next year. I don't know if they're going to be able to afford everybody because they had a lot of players in that defense. But I mean, honestly. I don't think they're going to re-sign Odell. I don't think they need him. Nelson Aguilar played great, actually. He had a great, he maybe he'll get a resurgence.
He needs better. He needs, like, I could see them get another, like, maybe young receiver or something. You need receivers, like, that can catch the ball, that he gets good chemistry with. They need running backs that, I don't know why they didn't use Dalvin Cook. I know they were down on running backs because they, Well,
that was the point of bringing Dalvin Cook in. I mean, heck, for the amount of times they turned it over, you could at least tried Melvin Gordon.
He wasn't on the team anymore.
Oh, they released him?
Yeah, they released him when they got Dalvin Cook.
They have that many running backs? I know they had like Justice Hill
and Gus Edwards and Dalvin Cook. I mean, the big one. I mean, two of their bigger ones got injured. So
right, I don't know. I'm surprised you don't keep like an extra guy on the practice squad or something, or elevated Melvin Gordon. I don't know. I don't know how was Dalvin Cook even activated that game?
Dalvin Cook, I believe, played.
Did he? I didn't see him. I didn't think he made any yards.
I don't know if he was active. He did not get any yards.
I mean, at least rushing yards, I should say. Either way, it was a bad performance by that Ravens offense, and there's a lot of questions to be.
Well, they play, and they lost. The fumbles didn't help, and they barely. I don't even think they got any like turnovers or
no.
So and they only got sacked Patrick Mahomes twice. twice. So they didn't do enough. They didn't do enough offensively, and they didn't do enough defensively to
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of questions to be asked this offseason, and we'll see how the team looks next season. But I know we'll do predictions. Maybe a wild card for the Ravens. I don't know if they're gonna win the division.
If Joe Burrow's back, I don't know if the division.
We get a whole healthy Joe Burrow, and yeah.
We shall see. The AFC North is always a crapshoot because of how strong they always play.
Well, strong in how where the injuries go. Because
Mm-hmm.
the Ravens the last couple of years, Lamar was hurt. Now it was Joe Burrow at the end of the season, Deshaun Watson. So is it and TJ Watt? So it's carousel. Is it back on the Ravens this next year? I mean, they had the injuries on the running back.
I think it's more a roulette wheel than a carousel. Because carousels don't stop on something. A roulette wheel does.
True. And it keeps rolling because I know the Ravens had some injuries at the running back, like we discussed. Anyways.
I guess that's why we say it's a crapshoot.
Right? I think we spent a lot more time on this game and discussing some crazy stuff. But hey, you know what? Maybe we're not being as generic right now.
The generic title was always there to be funny.
Yes.
Not to be truthful.
But no, now the game of the weekend was definitely the Lions at the 49ers.
Well, to be fair, there was no villain. There was really, this is like one of those face versus face matches in wrestling, unless you're one of those ones, unless you're in either the Lions or the 49ers divisions and don't like that, or a Cowboys fan. But yeah, it was a
Packers fan, because I don't know who were you rooting for if you're a Packers fan that week,
right?
Tom Grossi would know. Well, I think he was going for the Lions, but I get it. You kind of want to see your,
Well, it's kind of like how I am with the Chiefs. With the Bills are like the rival. The Bills are like the rival. If basically, what was it? If the Dolphins are Goku, the Bills are Vegeta, and the Chiefs are Frieza. The Chiefs are the enemy. The Bills are the rival.
That's pretty fair right there. So, anyways,
I mean, the Patriots were Frieza for a while, but now that was the difference. When the Patriots were the main villain, they weren't like the rival. Now that we know who the main villain is, you want to stop them, or you want whoever to stop them. I would take Josh Allen in the Super Bowl next year with the Bills over Mahomes.
Right? Just to see something different, really.
Yes, I want it to be the Dolphins, but if it's not the Dolphins, then the Bills. Or you know what, the Dolphins Bills third game AFC Championship.
Right?
I don't want the Chiefs and Mahomes in the AFC Championship game next year.
All right. So now
back to the good game of the weekend.
Now the Lions came out. They looked fearless. That first drive, it was Jamison Williams, right? He made the stumbling catch and then ran it in, and I thought they were I think that was the first one, right?
I forget the exact scoring summary, but it does sound right. Yeah, the 42-yard run was the first touchdown by Jamison Williams.
Okay, that one was great. And then I remember the Jahmyr Gibbs one where I thought he was gonna get. For me, I've watched Gibbs enough because he was my fantasy running back and definitely felt like an MVP in many of my games. He was cutting to the right. He was on, and then I was like, oh, he's gonna score halfway through the play, and then he did, and I was like, I knew it, and I think that was the second score of the game because I think they were up 14-7 at some point, and then it was just the first half ended 24-7, and I was like, oh man, we're gonna have a bookend from the first game of the season to the end. I'm just go back to that whole scripted thing, and was oh, that's how they're writing it, huh? I'm just nah, that was the reason they had opening. They opened it. It was because they all say it was Jared Goff versus Mahomes. I'm that's what they wanted for the Super Bowl. Okay, I could see it. It's fine. I'm they were predicting it in the future. I was they thought that there was a chance, but I'm just the 49ers was I know Purdy to say he threw an interception. I mean, his hand got hit. That's it was still still might have been, but picked off. But it was a hit, nasty hit to the ball, and got intercepted. But other than that, that was like the only mistake Purdy made. He avoided sacks the rest of the game. The team came alive. The defense came alive, and then we were tied 24-24. And I'm just like, wow, what are the Niners doing here? Like, I couldn't believe it because the Lions looked so good. Like, everybody was scoring touchdowns. Like, but then I don't know what they Amon-Ra St. Brown, like he felt like he was missing. Montgomery got stopped.
I mean, yeah, they made good halftime adjustments and were able to stop the Lions from basically doing anything. And I mean, we knew the Lions defense, like, was good, but we know they like sometimes have holes. And
yeah, they were good. They never felt great. So hopefully they can improve and be better next season.
Right.
Because I could see them making it to the Super Bowl. I could see them.
Right. It's very possible for the Lions to make it back there, with the weapons they have. I don't know who's like all their free agents and stuff, but if they can get most of the guys' key pieces back, and they do have a lot, and I mean they have a lot of the big pieces of like quarterback, wide receivers, and running backs. So.
No, actually, I think Jared Goff's coming up to be a free agent or something. I don't know if he's. I think they have to re-sign him. I think that they're planning to. I don't think they're gonna not trust Jared Goff.
Right. The only other thing is if Hendon Hooker, like they're like if he's like magically super good in his second year and becomes the Lions Mahomes, follows the next Mahomes, take the year off, and
right. I mean, if he's ready,
like evolves into the.
Right. I mean, if they think he's right, I was gonna say if they think he's ready, then I don't know I don't know if that's gonna happen, but we'll see.
I think if the Lions magically gained a quarterback that was like Mahomes and they were everywhere with like the Chiefs, I think because it was the Lions, I don't think the Lions can become the villains.
No, they can't. not after their last like road playoff win was in the 1950s, and their last like championship was in the 1950s, and all those years of suffering, Barry Sanders never winning,
Megatron never winning.
Right, I was gonna say, yeah, Calvin Johnson, like if they and Matthew Stafford, like he never got them as far as Jared Goff got them. He and the 0-16 season, like they I don't like they could. I don't know if they'd ever not become the villain, but I think they would be granted at least maybe 5 years of Super Bowls, maybe 6 in a row. I think they'd be all right.
Have to become. I should rephrase it as it depends on how their attitude becomes, because because like before like Mahomes and stuff, I would have never been able to say, oh, Andy, I could never see, because I really couldn't see Andy Reid become the villain. But like with how Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce have evolved and become so egotistical. So it's possible that Lions could become the villain. But, after so much pain and hardship, I would take them getting 5 Super Bowls.
Still hard for me to say about, like, Andy Reid, but who knows? I don't. I really don't.
I don't know if I'm... It's like, I give Andy Reid the same respect I give Bill Belichick. They're good at what they do, and I'm not taking anything away from that. Like, I don't know if Andy's ego is inflated or not. He doesn't seem like, I don't know if the commercials are, like, I haven't heard him really on the press conferences, but, Patrick and Travis really are. Like, it even feels like that in some of Patrick's commercials. The MVB one, like just some of them, like, he is, but it might also be with how the fandom is. Like, if the fandom becomes insufferable or something, too cocky, like, it would be like that too. So it would really depend on how gracious, how
it's like the whole heel. It's like wrestling, heels and villains and stuff. So yeah. I get it. But like, just gotta take a second. Like Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy are doing things that Kyle Shanahan was never able to do, which was a come from behind victory, being down at like halftime, and Brock Purdy did it twice, 2 weeks in a row. So
well, let's be fair. We don't know what Brock Purdy was able to do. I mean, it's based on this is his second year in the league. Were comebacks a problem for him or not? We didn't have enough data for, honestly. But based on this year and that they weren't able to, but now they are, is a good thing.
Well, and he could have had an earlier one with Cleveland, against Cleveland, but it was Jake Moody who missed a kick.
Kickers are important.
They are, but at the same time, it wasn't all Brock Purdy. It was a team win.
Well, now with their ability to come back, it's like as we've said all year, who can stop a healthy 49ers team? And the answer has been no one,
except for the Ravens,
basically.
But the Ravens also had like the best record against the NFC. They only lost to AFC teams, if I'm not mistaken.
Lamar's record against the NFC is like
19-1,
19-2. I think it's something ridiculous like that. Lamar just needs to get to. If Lamar can ever get to the Super Bowl, I have no doubt they would win.
Right? He just has to
get through the AFC to get to the NFC, and that's his problem.
Well, and it's hard to go back to back as the 1 seed again, so it's going to be interesting to see if he does that.
Lamar should go to an NFC team. He can get that. No, then he would just lose the Super Bowl. Troubles winning the Super Bowl.
I mean, wouldn't you want to just get to the Super Bowl? I don't know what would be worse. So I think right now where he's at is the worst. But anyways, Brock Purdy, the Niners made the comeback. Part of me, I liked both teams. I didn't care who won, realistically. But to see, it's like the absolute worst and best for each team. The worst was for the Lions. This was like what I've been told is Lions football. Take a lead and then, lose it at the end. And I've seen plenty of Lions games. I remember one against Cleveland where they were winning, and then I think that that was when Matthew Stafford got hurt or something. I think they came back and won that one. But there have been plenty of games where I think it was the Ravens last year where Justin Tucker got the field goal kick, the longest field goal kick, and the Lions had the lead most of that game, I think, and they just lose in heartbreaking fashion. But and yeah, that's the bad. That's the worst because that's just what they say is Lions football. Now, meanwhile, 49ers, I mean, obviously you don't want to go down, having a 17-point comeback, but now you can get it done. And, now you don't have to worry about counting them out. So, but they need to play better than they have in the first half of the last 2 games, and they need to play a full 60-minute game. Now, to be honest, the second half means more than the first half because, well, I can't really say that because you just need to score and keep, doing your best because, like I said in the last one, Chiefs were shut out in the second half. But that doesn't really mean much if you can't win, if you can't do anything on offense. So for the 49ers to win the Super Bowl, they need a complete game. Sadly, the only thing the Chiefs, I think, need to win the Super Bowl is them not to have a complete game and basically not drop passes for the Chiefs.
The Chiefs. I'd rather it be a shootout than magically the Chiefs are ahead in the first half and they can't do anything the second half. Those are the worst Chief games, like the Ravens and the Dolphins game where they get completely shut out in the second half, but the other team can't do anything against Chiefs.
Right?
But I'm happy for both teams. I mean, yes, I wanted the Lions more just because they were the Lions, they were the underdog. They haven't made the Super Bowl, but I'm happy. Brock Purdy is a Dan Marino fan, so this is the closest Dolphins thing I get to the Super Bowl. This is like the 49ers are the weird Dolphins Broncos legacy thing here for us. So.
Yeah, they are. I love Brock. He's proven himself time and time again. I mean, gonna say, wasn't it during the Dolphins game where Jimmy Garoppolo got injured, and that was the start of the Brock Purdy?
I don't think. No. Jimmy was injured the game before we were going. I think Brock got his first start against us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Brock was basically. We were already we got this third stringer. We were facing this third string quarterback, and then he happened.
But yeah, I'm a Brock Purdy fan, so and how can I not go with the Shanahan's kid, McCaffrey's kid, and John Lynch? Broncos right there, man. So this should be a defensive game, though. As good as the offenses can be, the defenses are going to dictate that game. Should be able to dictate that game,
Yeah.
Because you're just they've had good defenses, on with the talent, and I don't know what the Niners defense is, but they've got a good defense in general. So some of the best defenses making it to the Super Bowl. I'm not surprised this season.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I feel, as long, just go 49ers. Like,
right, nothing much really to add. Just wanting the 49ers.
I didn't want to see the repeat of the Super Bowl. This is out of the 4 choices of Super Bowls, this was the bottom choice.
I mean, the only good thing from a 49er, the best thing from a 49ers win is watching that episode of First Things First afterwards.
The worst thing will be the same thing if they lose.
Not as much as you think, because Brock Purdy's already made it to a Super Bowl, so I think that's like, I know you and me, they've had this that's I know you and me have discussed what they discussed about like which quarterbacks would you take above Brock Purdy, and right now it's like, I mean, if Brock Purdy can keep doing this stuff, like, you're definitely going to want to take Brock Purdy. I mean, I think there's only maybe a few others that I would take above him, but other than not a whole lot, honestly. So because sometimes, just like Tom Brady, you just mesh with your team and that's all you need.
Yeah.
All right, so anything else besides go 49ers?
That's about it.
All right, well, go 49ers. And thanks for joining us, talking about some weird whatever with the NFL. I still love it, and but if you have thoughts like this, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. But I hope there is none, and then we're just, there's some integrity to the game. That being said, thanks for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe, give us some feedback, give us your thoughts about what we talked about today. Especially about scripted gambling, like if any of the betting stuff has anything to do with this. We would really like to hear your thoughts. With that, I'll just say thank you for joining us. We'll see you here next time. Have some other episodes, but enjoy the Super Bowl. Stay safe. Have fun. We'll see you here next time. Bye.